Hi folks, welcome to Bad Barry's Bar. Good to see my old friends again. Hope you're all enjoying life and staying clear of that horrible virus. Hope you've had your injections, by the way. I've had mine, I think I told you. No problems at all, no problems. So don't be frightened. Much better at the risk of having the injection than, really finishing up in hospital and even worse, death. So just be a little bit careful. Hopefully though a good laugh will keep your system going. So let's see what we got to tell you today. This farmer, and he drove into town one day to get supplies and his truck broke down while he was there, so he took it into the garage and the mechanics looked at it. They said, well, it's going to be about a day before we can fix it. So the farmer said, well, that's okay, I mean, I can walk home, I don't live too far out of town, that's no big problem, but I've got some shopping to do. So on the way back, you see, he went into one of the stores and he bought a gallon of paint and a bucket. And then he walked down the street a bit further and he picked up 2 chickens and a goose. And he's out on the pavement, on the sidewalk, sorting these out, how to carry these things, when a little old lady came along. And she said, excuse me, sir, she said, but I'm a little bit lost. She said, can you direct me to 26 Maple Lane? He said, ma'am, he said, that's very close to where I live. He said, you can walk with me and I'll walk you home because I go almost by the door. So he got all his stuff together, you see, and he staggered off down the road, and they get a little ways down the road and there's an alleyway, and he said, look, we can cut through here. He said, this will save us quite a bit of time on the walk home. And the little old lady looked at him and she said, I'm just a widow. She said, I don't have a husband to look after me. She said, how do I know when we go down this alleyway that you're not going to push me against the wall, lift up my skirt and have your way with me? He said, good Lord, ma'am. He said, look, he said, I've got a gallon of paint and a bucket and 2 chickens and a goose. How could I possibly have my way with you with all these? She said, well, you could put the goose on the ground, put the bucket on top of it, put the paint on the top to hold it in position, and I'll hold the 2 chickens. These little old women, I tell you, you've got to watch them. Well, now Christy's here. Christy's bursting to tell you one of her stories.
Alright, so I've got a couple jokes here, both about dogs. So I have a dog that's a pit lab mix. Sure, she might bite off my leg, but at least she'll bring it back. And anyone who doesn't know what soap tastes like, they obviously haven't washed a dog before.
That's so true, believe me. If they don't like water, boy, they can just flay around and water goes everywhere. Water, soap, the whole bit. But Christy does a good job. She's got 2 dogs there, and they're really lovely dogs. Very, very nice. I've got 3 cats, and so Christy lives in the apartment down below in the basement of our place. So yeah. The dogs and cats are getting to the point where they can look at each other, and that's about it, without biting each other's head off. At least the dogs would bite my cat's head off. But they do get on okay. And now talking about dogs, there's this guy, he's looking for a secretary. So he puts a sign in the window and it said, secretary wanted, must be able to type, must be computer literate and must be bilingual. Well, what do you know? A little dog came along and looked at this sign, pushed the door open and went inside, and it tapped on the sign on the window, and the reception there looked, she said, gosh, that dog must be interested in the job we've got. So she thought, I'll take it into the boss, he'll have a laugh. So she opened the door and the dog went into the boss's office. And the old dog went there, in, and it looked at him and it sort of barked, and the secretary said, I think the dog's looking for that job, the secretarial job. And the boss looked, he said, a dog? And at that point, the dog went over to the typewriter, sat there, put its paws up, typed away, did a beautiful letter in perfect English, took it over to the boss. Well, he was astounded, he couldn't believe it. So he said, well, you've got to be computer literate. And the dog went over to the computer, got behind the desk there, typed away, did a beautiful spreadsheet with all the tables, perfect. And the boss was absolutely amazed. He said, good Lord, he said, that's incredible. He said, but the only thing is, he said, you've got to be bilingual. And the dog went, meow. Well, what do you expect? I thought it was funny. It really made me laugh, I've got to say. Well, folks, again, thanks for watching. Hope you're all staying well. If you like what you see, press the like button and press subscribe if you want to get notifications when we do some other shows. There's no charge for subscribing, but at least we know that we've got somebody that's really interested in what we're doing here. Well, take care. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.